Hey everyone, I'm the 13th Wolfman. You have with me today, I have Dan Reiser, the writer, producer, director of Stomping Ground, Teresa Telly, the actress in Stomping Ground, but she's also well known for Evil Dead, and Tara, is it Despain?
It's the Spain, yeah, you got it.
Okay. Who's from Stomping Ground and, of course, Burnout. You know, I want to welcome you all to sit down. So, Dan,
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
oh, thanks for being on here. Dan, how did this movie come about? I mean, where were you? Where was the inspiration for this film?
I'm originally from North Carolina, and I always wanted to make a movie in North Carolina, and I knew that I could probably do a movie for pretty cheap back home, and use a lot of parents and friends and family and things like that. And I always wanted to make. I wanted it to be somewhat of a horror movie, somewhat of a monster movie, and but I didn't exactly know what kind of monster it was going to be from the start. And then when I started doing the research, I kind of stumbled upon an actually pretty good Bigfoot history in North Carolina, which you don't think. You think that he comes from the Pacific Northwest mostly, but yeah, your neck of the woods. But actually, there's a good history there in North Carolina. So I went location scouting in some legitimate Bigfoot hot spots and things like that, and just sort of kind of fell in love with it from there and said, okay, this is going to be a Bigfoot movie now. So, and then it just sort of, worked out naturally from there.
I watched it today, loved it,
Thank you.
even though Paul's a douche.
Yeah, sure.
He's cute.
Yeah, a cute
He's
douche.
got a good body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the right response on your end.
So, Tara, how did you get hooked up with Dan in the production?
Dan and I had some mutual friends, and we were hanging out together, and Dan had mentioned that he had written the script. Dan knew that I was from the South originally, from New Orleans. So he had mentioned it to me, and I went in and auditioned, and that was the end of it, really.
Or the beginning.
Or the
Yeah.
beginning, yes,
Yep.
very much.
And Teresa, how did
Well, I had worked with the character that plays John Bobek, who plays Tara's boyfriend. I had worked with him in some theater, and he was already involved with the production, and I guess he and Dan started talking one night over bourbon, and one thing led to another. And somehow I got a phone call or an email saying, would you be interested in a Bigfoot movie? So that was the beginning or the end.
Yeah.
now, as I touched on before, of course, you played Shelley in Evil Dead.
I did.
You're Scott's girlfriend.
Right.
But you did like Evil Dead in 1981. Then you did Toro Toro Toro, a short, and then you took a sabbatical between 81 and 90.
Well, see, here's the thing that people don't know. First of all, Toro 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 was shot after Evil Dead, because I didn't even know Sam Raimi and Scott Spiegel. Yeah, Steven Spielberg. I didn't know Scott. The people who were involved in that movie, I didn't know them until I had made Evil Dead. So that's wrong. Wherever I know it's on my IMDb, I didn't even put it there. But so then after that, I decided I wasn't going to do any more movies because I had such a horrific experience on Evil Dead, and I just said I'm done with the movies. So I got into stand-up comedy and did a lot of stand-up and theater. And then I ended up in LA doing voiceover. I was a DJ, and I raised my family. And then I decided, you know what, my daughter's old enough. I'm going to get back into it. So that's what happened.
That's a great story. I mean, it's sad because at the time, in the 1980s, horror was the highlight, and you could have been in some pretty good or some pretty bad horror films.
It's interesting you say that because I actually hid the fact that I was in that movie. That's another thing. The three of us the three women who were in that movie, we were so embarrassed by it that we did not put it on our resume. We were horrified, really. And so it wasn't until one of our kids somebody had a lunchbox with Ellen's face on it, and she brought it home, and Ellen realized that, oh my God, people are watching this movie. We had no idea. So that's another component.
As I told you earlier, I saw it in 1981 when it came out up here in the Pacific Northwest. And I went back to the theater. It was playing at my local first run theater. I went back to that theater like 4 times. I loved it.
I'm really
sorry. It was a good movie. It was a fun movie. I mean,
it is.
It's not a funny movie. I mean, and I know you were saying that you experienced the opposite, but I just loved it for what it was, you know?
People thought it was campy, and still do. I mean, it was tongue-in-cheek, and I guess...
But in all the right ways.
Yeah, but that's what it was meant to be, but none of us knew that. I didn't know Sam Raimi until, I shot the movie, and I didn't know that he was a big Three Stooges fan, and that he was really using his knowledge of those crazy kind of TV shows and movies and incorporating them into The Evil Dead.
Now you're from Michigan.
Yes, I am.
So you're from up around the same area that Bruce and Sam came from.
We're all from Detroit, the Detroit area. Well, Betsy's from St. Joe, but we're all from Michigan. And Ellen actually went to school with Bruce and Sam, and they did movies and theater when they were growing up. But I just auditioned for it and got the part.
Okay, so Dan, making this movie, what had to be like the hardest part of making this movie, man?
It's weird. In a lot of ways, we got really lucky. I know that normally first-time features and, first-time feature directors and cast and crew of people who haven't worked on a lot of big movie sets and shooting out in the woods, a lot of things could have gone really horribly wrong. But most things went right. Everything went pretty right. The weather was perfect the whole time. It rained maybe a half a day when we were shooting indoors anyways. Everything went great. The thing that I always say, the thing I always say isn't even a story. It didn't happen to me, but on our 4th day of shooting, our sound guy's appendix burst. It may have burst sometime early morning before the day of shooting because he showed up on set complaining of stomach pains and thought maybe he'd just eaten something bad and he was feeling nauseous and sick. Luckily, he didn't have to move around that much that day. He just kind of sat in a chair the whole day. But he
literally worked the whole day, though. He was a trooper.
And the sound is perfect. There's no problem with the sound. But at the end of the day, like later in the day, we were like, okay, he's getting worse and worse. And at the end of the day, we're like, all right, well, we need to get you an ambulance. And he was like, no, I'm fine. And we're like, he's not fine. And so he got driven home. He was actually staying with his parents. Got driven home. His dad took like one look at him and took him to the hospital. And his dad called me in the middle of the night and was like, yeah, he just got his appendix out. So it was pretty inflamed. And so that could have gone a lot worse, but it ended up, I can't say enough about him because like he called somebody midway through the day and got us a backup guy and like took all the necessary precautions and it was amazing. So, I mean, that was like the closest we had to, the closest we had to any kind of real disaster. Everything else went eerily smooth.
I think it's a real testament to the way that Dan organized the production. I mean, everything was very well thought out, and I think because of that, there was very little room for error to even be made. So I think it's a testament to Dan.
That really says a lot about how well organized it was, So I saw this, like I said, I saw the movie today, and it's kind of funny. It's like, you say it's filmed in North Carolina, but this could be in my backyard. It's beautiful. I mean, the way it's shot, and I mean, it just the little grotto area that they went down to when Ben was saying this might be the area that The Bigfoot was. Yeah, love that. That was nice. That was well shot.
Oh yeah, that's a place. That's a park that I used to go to as a kid all the time. My sister actually got engaged at that waterfall. But yeah, so that waterfall is actually in a different location than where we shot the majority of the movie. Because where we shot the movie it's mountainous, but not really, and there really aren't any waterfalls down there. So we had to go to a different place to shoot the waterfall scene. But yeah, I mean, my DP Alex Sablo, he knocked it out of the park, and he was just, he was running around with pretty much no lights, just a red camera on his shoulder shooting that movie. But I think he really brought the most out of the scenery.
Mm-hmm.
So Dan, was that your first time shooting on red camera?
Yeah, it actually was. I think about it for a second because I've done a few things with various similar cameras. But yeah, first time on the red.
And what was that like?
It was great. I had heard some horror stories about the time it takes to sort of change out batteries and when it overheats a lot and various things like that. But I mean, either the DP and the camera crew kept that all from me so that I didn't notice it, or those aren't really issues because it worked fine. And nothing but good things to report.
So, Tara, I almost said Tamara, so I'm going.
It's all right.
Tara, what's the hardest role you had to deal with since you first started acting?
Wow, that's. I mean, I think they all have their challenges. I think it's a matter, and each one has a separate challenge, I feel like, whether it be emotionally or how are you going to do something that's not expected, or maybe dig down into your past to where you don't want to go back down and experience something for real, because that's what we do as actors, is we pull on our past experiences. So I feel like depending on what the scene calls for, it can be challenging to dig down personally and pull out some of your stuff so that you can deliver and that emotion can be authentic. So I didn't really answer your question.
It's okay.
Because I guess I can't.
When did you know you wanted to be an actress?
I was really shy as a kid, and my mom she put me in this local theater company for the summer. And there was something very interesting about it. I felt like it was a group of people that I belonged in. And I feel like once you have an experience like that, you just don't want to stop doing it. Nothing feels as good as that. Or, I guess, and then down the line, you refine it so much so that you really feel like you're not good at anything else. And, that's what draws you to it too. So yeah, I knew as a young girl that this is something that I really wanted to do.
So this is for both the actresses. Theater or film?
Theater.
I'd say theater too.
I had a feeling I was going to get theater out of Teresa.
You should. Oh, after my Evil Dead experience, right?
Well, no. It just seemed like you're more of a theater actress, I mean, coming from.
Right. Yes, we have a lot of theater there. No, I do like it. I mean, because you can keep improving. Once you're done in film, it's over, and sometimes that's kind of depressing. Like, think, wow, I missed that, or I could have done that. In theater, you kind of get the chance to, and the live experience.
Yeah. So yeah, it's addicting.
It's addicting.
Yeah.
Yeah. My best friend's an actor, and he's into the theater thing, so I had to ask that question. So we have the trailer, and who'd like to introduce the trailer?
Dan.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. So yeah, this is the trailer for our Bigfoot movie, Stomping Ground, and yeah.
Be careful if you're taking this one out tonight. Annie has a tendency to get herself into some hairy situations.
When Annie and I were in high school, we were really big into
cryptozoology.
You believe in Bigfoot?
All right, we're on.
What's happening tomorrow?
We are going Bigfoot hunting.
Don't let the locals find out you're such a big city boy.
I was just wondering about the whole squatching thing. Look, I know you're really into it. Now, what about them?
It's not like I'm gonna try and steal her away from you. Maybe I am.
Little lady, these woods is dangerous. You don't come out here with a pack of guys you can't trust.
How the hell are we lost? It's not Bigfoot. It's not Bigfoot, okay? Hey!
Bigfoot isn't real.
Well, that was the trailer. Again, I love this movie. I think this movie is going to say a lot, when everyone gets a chance to see it. I want to thank all three of you for coming on. Love to sit down, love to talk with you about it. If anyone's looking for you, I know that Teresa said that you're going to be at CT Horror Fest this year.
Yes, in the Montreal, there's a fest, Requiems of something or other, but I know it's Halloween weekend. There's a horror con, and also at Cinema Wasteland in Cleveland in September.
But at CT Horror Fest, it's going to be you and the ladies of Evil Dead.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And if anyone else wants to find you anywhere else on social media, where can they find you?
Well, I do Twitter when I remember to, and I think it's just my name, Teresa Tilley.
Okay.
And I also have Ladies of the Evil Dead. I manage that as well, and Facebook too.
Tara?
If you look up Ladies of the Evil Dead on Facebook, you'll find what Teresa's talking about. For me, I'd say go to the film's website, which is stompinggroundfilm.com. And all the info you need is there.
What are you working on next, Dan?
Yes, that's right.
Right, that's a great question.
Taking over the show.
Tara doesn't really use her social media very well.
I don't. I'm not very good at it. I'm kind of old-fashioned in that way. I will eventually get back to people, but sometimes it takes me a spell.
She does have a Twitter page. It says, "I'm new to Twitter," and it's dated 2009, I believe.
Yeah, so. It's kind of embarrassing.
There you go.
I have a Twitter account, at the 13th Wolfman, and I don't use it quite as much as I should, so I'm the same way. It's one of those things. You can catch me on Facebook, you can catch me on YouTube, but every now and then it's I'll jump on Twitter and I'll throw something out there, but
yeah, it's a lot to keep up with. I mean, the Facebook, the Twitter, all this.
Right.
I sound like I'm 80 years old right now.
Do you have a Facebook page?
I do, yeah. It's under my name, Tara Despain. I also have a website, taradespain.com. You can check that out. But currently I have a short film on the festival circuit, and it's actually another horror short, or very much related to Stomping Ground in that it's horror. It's called Soccer Moms in Peril, and it's been running the festival circuit for the past year. It's done really, really well. We actually premiered at Dances with Films with this short, the same film that we premiered Stomping Ground, same festival that we premiered Stomping Ground in. So that was really cool. And then I did a follow-up short called District Quarantine. It's a horror film as well, and it should be out later this year.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, for Teresa, Tara, and Dan, I'm the 13th Wolfman, and I'm on the prowl.
Whoa.
I like it.